I really want to emphasize how important these two dungeons are to your raid account. Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video, and today, because we are on the cusp of a Gear Ascension Tournament, I wanted to talk about how important Sand Devil and Shogun are to your account. I'm also going to show you my teams for them, but for the Sand Devil team, take that one with a grain of salt because not everybody can make that team. The Shogun team, I've made so many videos about it. It's an all rare team. It works 100% of the time. If it's not working for you, you're probably making a small mistake somewhere that's hard to detect. I've gone through that, or you don't have enough blessings to do it, which is something that I learned from another community member when we realized, oh, they don't have enough blessings. We were able to get that fixed. So I'm not going to make a full video on that team. I will show you guys the all rare team, and then I will ask my editor, if possible, to put the link to the last time I did a Shogun team into the description of the video. If you guys just want me to make a repeat of that video, I'm happy to rehash it and re-talk about it. It's one of my favorite teams in the game, but we'll get to that eventually. What I really wanted to talk about was how important doing these dungeons are for your account. Now, I highly recommend doing them during the Gear Ascension Tournament, essentially meaning that any Sand Devil or Gear Ascension Tournament should never be skipped, in my opinion. Now, there are going to be circumstances where they happen to pop up during fusions, and you might be put into a choice for your gems and your energy where you're going to put those, right? You may have to make that decision of, I'm going to skip this one because I have to do dragon or I have to do spider or something like that, right? I understand that. I respect that decision. Not everybody can do both, but if you are in a position, if you have saved your gems and saved your resources, I highly recommend doing every single one of the tournaments that revolve around Sand Devil or Phantom Shogun's Growth. And we're going to take a look at why. Listen up, I just got a new promo link that you can use to follow along with me on my latest free-to-play adventure and get a free Elenaril as well as 3 more powerful epics as you level up. Here's how to do it. Log out of Plarium Play and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get Elenaril right after signing up, as well as Fayne, Uugo, and Tagoar as you progress through raid. Click on my link right now and let's crush this together. So, shout out real quick to MTG Jedi. He did me a huge solid the other day. I was just hanging out in his chat. I wasn't looking to do anything, and I happened, he was doing a subathon. So I was like, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and toss a couple subs his way. And he was like, oh, since you donated 5 subs, you get a champion re-gear. And I was like, oh, cool. So he took a look at my Harima and finally got my Harima into a 4-piece stone skin. I've been trying to do that for a while. I've talked about that in a few videos. And then also worked on my Empress, and because some gear got moved off of my horse, also worked on my horse. So yeah, it was a really fun time. And the reason I'm shouting him out is because we were talking about how, like, we upgraded the gear on some of these champions, but they just need to get certain things flipped, right? As he called it, right? So we have Empress here, who is rocking 322 crit damage, but we don't even have crit damage yet on the 2 main crit damage sources, right? So we're about to get even better. Now, how do I get that to happen? I have to run these dungeons, right? I have to run Sand Devil and I have to run Phantom Shogun's Grove in order to flip these blessings into the one that I want using the Chaos Powder, right? But let's not even go so far as talking about Chaos Powder. Let's just talk about the Ascensions in general. Let's take a look at 2 of my most ascended champions. Thor is fully ascended. We have attack on every, well, HP on that one, that should be attack, but attack on 2 pieces, crit damage on the gloves, crit damage on the amulet, extra attack on the chest. We've got attack on the boots here, but speed, again, is a viable option there. We've got attack here. I already said crit damage there. And then I've got accuracy. Now, this one is one that I would love to get more accuracy on, just because well, actually, I'd probably prefer attack, to be honest with you, because his accuracy is pretty high enough as it is, which is why I haven't really touched that piece. I think the one that is almost perfected, except for this helmet, which needs to get re-rolled still. But we've got the defense there, right? We've got the crit damage, the defense on the chest. Again, defense here. Would like speed too. It all depends on what you're kind of going. But you can see I kind of have all of those optimized. And for my level of account, hitting 7,700 defense is pretty good. And still having 244 speed. I'd love to be up around 250. So being at 244 without extra speed on the boots is fine. I'm not going to re-roll the defense ones, right? Because if I start re-rolling it and I just keep getting flat stats or attack percent or something that I don't want, like, I'm just weakening myself. So sometimes you just have to take that defense percent on the boots, right? Just because it's better than not having the defense percent and having to use different boots and being a waste. So, and then we're still at 346% crit damage. Of course, that is with a 6-star blessing, right? So we are getting extra crit damage and extra stuff. Same thing with Thor. We were getting that extra crit damage. And here on Empress, we've got a 5-star blessing on him too. So that's why we are hitting those pretty high crit damage numbers without getting the proper blessings. But getting those blessings makes huge difference, right? Getting speed, extra speed on the boots. If you're looking at your supports and you're getting extra HP there, some extra defense there, and extra speed there, right? We don't need the accuracy. Probably would want resistance more so on the banner, that or maybe HP. But yeah, I think you guys can kind of understand that the being able to get the extra percentage stats or the extra crit damage, and I would say probably especially the extra crit damage, goes a really long way for your nukers, and especially getting more of that main stat when you have other champions that maybe aren't getting that, right? So here I've got flat attack on the chest. I do have attack on the boots. I do have the crit damage on the gloves and on the amulet. But remember, I don't have the blessing on the chest. And I am still at 7,000 attack, but I would like to be better off than that. I'm a little disappointed in that. I also need to find another piece of Merciless for him as well. So don't have any, I think, at the moment to really top him off. Yeah, I still need to find some Merciless to finish out his build because he's not ignoring defense. And that's not, yeah, I need to find a place to make up the crit rate. Maybe I can do something with the Slayer set here. Find a way to weave that in. That's something I'll tinker with later. I'm kind of stuck there. Love to get a different set on him. I just don't have that many resources set wise. But my point is that let's say, well, we know I need extra crit rate right now, right? And we have a pretty reasonable amount of crit damage. What if I gave up 20% crit rate and got crit rate on this as well, right? And then I maybe can bring in some other pieces that have higher crit damage and things like that, right? So there's a lot of play, a lot of options that you have, and it really gets improved when you can ascend your gear. And I think that people, by the way, I know that for a lot of players, these dungeons are not hard, but also for a lot of players, these dungeons seem impossible. I have been there, guys. It wasn't until I found this team for Sand Devil that I ever found success to go to stage 25. Pretty simple team. Godseeker keeps reviving Newt, and Godseeker revives herself when they both die. So it's a pretty simple team. It's simple. I mean, in the execution, but complicated in the gearing and getting everything just right. Because if Newt is a little bit too weak, he could die at the wrong time. Now, there are some slower versions of the run, but you want to be careful because I don't necessarily want to have a slow Newt. And sometimes I don't even want to slow Godseeker for other areas of the game where I might use her. So I run a little bit of a faster team. We'll take a look at this here. So this is my Sand Devil team. So for Godseeker, 274 speed, 84k HP. I do have a pretty big chunk of defense on her. And for Newt, we're rocking 52k HP, only 4,000 defense. He is a defense-based champion, so I would consider that kind of low. But again, remember that for Newt, we're not really worried about that because all of his damage is enemy max HP, and 257 speed on him. So that is the team, and if you guys want me to go into more detail on this team, I can, but it's not super complicated. I feel like this is also, I think I've talked about this recently in a video where like you could basically do Godseeker and X. As long as Godseeker is built well enough that she can survive in here other than the big hit, you can just bring whatever champion you need to revive. The only trick is that if they die at the wrong time and trigger what would be her self-revive, it can throw things out of whack. So they just got to play with that a little bit. But you could bring a lot of different champions in here. Enemy max HP works the easiest, but you do have other champions that you could bring. Like Ninja is a great option with this team, albeit he has negative affinity, so it can sometimes take a little bit longer. But yeah, there's a few different options you can go here, but I'm not going to dive too deeply into this, like I said. All right, so for Phantom Shogun's Grove, this is the all-rare team that I'm talking about. Look, the dungeon isn't even started yet. This is, by the way, for the Gear Ascension dungeon, the Gear Ascension Tournament, for the Gear Ascension Tournament, the focus tends to be on Shogun. You get more points for Shogun, usually. Now, you want to just check in the tournament. It'll tell you where you get points for, but I tend to do, for the Gear Ascension tournaments, I tend to do Shogun, and then obviously for the Sand Devil tournaments, I do Sand Devil. But I try to never miss one of these tournaments because Gear Ascension is so important. It's actually a really good source of silver too. Well, I say good. I mean that in the sense that you're gaining silver from it while also completing other things. It's not as good as Spider or some other areas where you get really good items that you can sell for a lot, but I think because what you want from the dungeon is so good and you get silver on top of it, I like it in that regard. So it's not the best source of silver. I want to be clear. I want to make sure my words are crystal clear. But you do get some silver along the way. If you are running certain teams, you can even bring champions to level up as well. More so on Sand Devil. I've never tried it because I only run this team, right? This team takes a little bit of time. It does. Like it's that was a minute 26. Pretty slow. Could I build a faster team? Sure. I talked about this with MTG Jedi too. I don't want to put myself in a position where, let's say that I bring Elva in my fast Phantom Shogun team. And let's say that they are speed tuned to go to a specific speed, but I want her to be a little bit faster for Chimera. I don't want to be swapping my gear around and doing all kind of, like, I just want to play. I want to be able to play with my champions whenever I want, right? And move gear around especially now with free gear removal and like maybe I forget that I move gear off of somebody. So for me, it's just easier to say my all rare team, they do it 100%, a little bit slower, but I run my dungeons overnight anyways. Like I'm not really gonna be upset that it's taking a minute because I'm not waiting for these to be done, right? If I'm waiting for them to be done, I want 10-second runs. Yeah, absolutely, right? That's why I run the Spider team that I run, because I am often like running Spider during Clan v Clan right on the last couple of hours. So I want this team to be fast, right? So this is a 19th, well, it's really more of a 30-second team. The 19-second 4-turn team was done for Tholen stuff, that big event that we had for Tholen. I've got a 30-second team for Dragon, and then the other two, they're going to be longer. You're going to not have a super fast team capable in some of these areas. So, but yeah, my point that I'm trying to make is that I love this all rare team and I will run this forever because there's just no reason not to. It doesn't cost me anything. I don't have masteries on half of these champions. Again, I'm not going to go into detail about the team because I have a dedicated video to that. If you guys want me to do an updated version, I can. Nothing has changed, and I feel like I do a new version of that video every couple of months, and I just don't want to keep going to the same well for, you know, information, right? But I know there are some of you that probably haven't seen that video, so please go check it out. I still get comments on it. I got a comment on it today by somebody saying team doesn't work, and it 1000% does. I can't get in and micromanage everybody's, you know, account and understand why it's not working, but it does. It works. Blessings are a thing. If you don't have enough blessings, it will fail. But yeah, so love this team. I'm going to keep running this team as much as I can, and I look forward to every Phantom Shogun Grove time. And I spend my gems during that time to crank up my energy to make sure I complete those tournaments. Now, the other reason why I think the tournaments are important is because there's one reward that they all have in common, at least up to this point. And I say all, some of them, like this week, will have a reward for a Prism Shard. That's really good. But the other reward that they have is Immortal Soulstones. And I think these do get overlooked quite a bit in how valuable they are for completing events that require Soulstone summoning. The Immortal Soulstones can go pretty far, whether it's a Soulstone Rush or even a Soul Chase. Immortal Soulstones, because you can get them from these dungeons most of the time, if not always. I'm not going to say that I've counted every single one, but I feel like most of the times they have an Immortal Soulstone in there, and I go for that Immortal Soulstone because I want it as a resource to complete those tournaments and events in the future. Those are the reasons why I feel like this type of tournament is a must-do tournament. Obviously, like I said, stuff gets in the way. You can't always do it, whether it's life, a fusion, a Titan event, whatever the case may be. But if you are able to do it, I highly recommend it. And I'm going to make a follow-up video tomorrow talking about RSL Helper and how RSL Helper can really help you achieve these tournaments at minimal cost to you if you take advantage of some of its options. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys tomorrow for that video. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, and take care.